I wanted to start out by advocating for the parents in the room. If you've got small children and you are asking for help for something with that small child, particularly if it's two parents and it's your partner, it's important to think that when you're asking for help with the child, you're advocating for the child. You're asking if the child's needs be met. And sometimes children, they aren't big enough, they've got mental health issues, whatever, they aren't able to advocate for themselves. So the request is also always intended for the child. So when someone says, like, I need help with Johnny, can you please change his diaper, or something along those lines, the other person isn't doing you a favor necessarily. They're assisting a child, a defenseless person. And I think it's important to remember that, because whether the mom's a stay-at-home mom, and these days quite often it can be a stay-home dad, the partner isn't doing a favor for that person. They are assisting um, the child. And it needs to remain in that context so that when a parent asks for help, that the clear articulation is they're asking for their need to be met. And a lot of us get the boundaries are blurry and we get confused about this. So if someone's a stay-home mom, they aren't 100% responsible for meeting the needs, every need of their child, and that's going on in the house. That's an impossible task. No one can fill that task. I mean, I would argue that two parents, can't meet all the needs of just a single child, much less multiple children. So I wanted to set that, kind of clear that up for parents in this situation. And I know there's some interesting situations where there's in vitro fertilization and there's only one parent involved, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I would say to the group, if you are doing something to assist with, a minor child, you're helping that person. It may appear like you're helping that parent, but you really are, in essence, in the very essence of it, providing assistance for the child. And it's good to keep that in mind, because the parent often will clearly has needs of their own that need to be met. All right. So just kind of the context of all this. All right. Now there's this issue of expectations. March 6th. Al-Anon has helped me realize that no one readily knows what is in my heart, mind, and soul. I can't expect my needs to be met unless I first explain what those needs are. Nor can I expect any one person to meet all those needs, even if I make them clear. If the first person I ask for help is unable to provide it, I can ask someone else. This takes the pressure off all of us. Before I began my Al-Anon recovery, I expected those closest to me to know what I was feeling without my telling them. When I was angry and wanted to argue, I silently fumed. When I was hurt and wanted comfort, I pouted. When I wanted attention, I talked nonstop. I couldn't understand why I rarely got the responses I expected. I no longer expect anyone to read my mind. I also accept that I can't read the mind of a loved one. Today, I treat the people in my life with more respect, because I'm learning to ask for what I need and to encourage others to do the same. Today's reminder: help, comfort, and support are available to me. I am willing to reach out for what I need today. The quote is, in all our affairs, I, I cannot expect anyone to help me unless I'm willing to share that I need help, end quote. In the context of communicating with an addict, we're often just spent. And because we're spent, we're categorized and marginalized and demeaned typically by that addict. Remember, addicts, they give roles to people. So you're assigned a role, and they're studying you, they'll provoke you so that you stay in your role. Like if you're the, witch in the house, you're going to be provoked and kept in that, under that label and in that role. So to that end, I encourage all people in our group, when they are making a request of another person, that they not do it, that they not speak unless they are calm, cool, and collected. It's very unlikely you'll be heard. It's very likely you'll be misunderstood if you're something other than calm, cool, and collected. So don't bother trying to talk to the addict in your life, and sometimes everyone in the household who's stressed, unless you are calm, cool, and collected, and look for affirmation that what you communicated is understood. And that can come in a respectfully in a form. I just need to be sure you understood what I'm asking. And so I want to be clear about your response. It's yes, no, I'll think about it. Just look for some clarity about what it is that you need, that make it clear. You need to be clear they understood what you're asking. And then you also need to be clear what their response is. And you leave it at the table. You just leave it there. You have to respect the fact that someone isn't willing to help, isn't willing to cooperate, doesn't care about your needs, whatever it is. You don't respond emotionally. You just accept it. The other thing that I say, since I'm on this subject, I'm going to say it here right now, because I realize I say these things so repeatedly every week to remind people, is that, particularly if you're female, we say too much. So it's really important when something is important to you, think it through, write it down, rehearse asking the thing with other people. And what I like to say is ask once, be clear, and let it go. So if you think that asking over and over and over and over and over again is going to get you what you want, that's a form of disrespect. It's nice to put the line in the ground and say, I'm just going to try and look for the right time. Timing is really important. I'm going to be clear in what I ask. I'm going to ask one time. I'm going to ask in the best way I know how, and I'm not going to ask again. And just leave it there. They have to live with themselves. They have to, they've got a conscience, even though it doesn't look like it. They do. And you have to let go of the outcome and perhaps get your needs met elsewhere. But it's good and it's healthy and it's hopeful inside of relationships if you can communicate at times very particular specific needs. So I wouldn't give up on that. Just remember, if you repeat yourself, you're going to be marginalized. You'll typically be ignored. And so fewer words, and make good use of those words when you do speak.